Yeah, my name is Lena, and I'm an American nurse with almost 20 years of healthcare experience. And I'm among the 1% of the certified emergency nurses in the world. And another interesting fact about myself is that I was the only American present on February 27 of 2025, which was the day that the hundreds of released hostages or torture victims, Palestinian hostages, were released to European Gaza Hospital. But I wanted to speak to this. Since October of 2023, over 21,000 Palestinians have been abducted and detained without charge, some without trial, and like 3,000 of them are children. So among the recently returned, I can go on for hours and tell you all the stories from February 27. But I wanted to bring attention to the recently released Palestinian victims. One of them was actually a friend of mine, a nurse. And so in August, my friend, this nurse, went to the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation distribution aid site to get food for his starving family. And he didn't even have his phone on him, but they have drones everywhere and they have his biometrics. So I guess it detected that he was a nurse. So an American soldier snatched him up, beat him up, and then handed him over to the Israeli soldier. And so then he was beaten and he was taken to prison. So all he did was go, he wanted to get aid. That was it. Within the 2 months that he was being held, he was severely tortured. He said that he felt like he got it worse because he was a nurse. For the first 25 days, they had him in solitary confinement. And he was put in stress positions. And there was this one point where he told the soldier, like, I feel like I have nails going through my legs because he was in this stress position for so long. And so the soldier was like, oh, you feel like you've got nails in your legs? Well, here, let me hammer them. And he starts punching his legs. And then he also, while he was in a stress position, had a baton shoved up his rectum. They had plucked his eyelashes one by one with a tweezer. And then they put an electrical probe on his eyelid and electrocuted him. And with that same electrical probe, they put it on the tip of his penis and like revved it up to the highest voltage and electrocuted him. And since we're talking about the reproductive system, they also gave him a drink 3 times a day. He said morning, afternoon, and evening, he had to drink this drink. And they told him it was to sterilize him so that he could never have children. So I heard I think it was Dr. Ahmed Mkhalilati. Somebody had mentioned something about running experiments. And yes, like they are running clinical trials on these victims. So I can go on and on about the beatings and the torture. But also another thing they did was they starved him. So he would get like 3 tablespoons of either chickpeas or rice with toilet water, maybe every other day. Sometimes they would make him go 2 days without food. He had lost 10 kilos within 2 months. So it was just brutal. It was brutal. And to top it all off, do you want to know what his charge was? His charge was supposedly for caring for the Israeli prisoners of war. Supposedly they were brought to this hospital and he cared for them, which never happened. There's no evidence. There's like nothing, no witnesses, nothing. And he actually had a trial date and they sentenced him to life in prison for this. Rather than, let's just hypothetically say, let's pretend that did happen, right? Rather than saying, thank you for treating our people, you sentence him to life in prison. By the grace of God, like 6 hours before the bus left with the released hostages, his name somehow made it on the list because they know he didn't do that. So these people are not numbers. They are fathers, they are brothers, they are uncles, they are teachers, they're healthcare workers, they're nurses. Like, they're members of the community. They're obviously not Hamas, because if they were, they wouldn't have been released, all these men, right? But Israel built this system on dehumanizing Palestinians. When they spoke with me, the ones on February 27 that I spoke with, some of them were shaking, some of them were crying, some of them were so shook that they couldn't even speak, and some of them couldn't even look up at me from humiliation and embarrassment from what they had gone through. And that's all of that was done to them was meant to embarrass them, to break them, as said on their uniforms. And they were wearing wristbands on February 27. All of their sweatshirts, on the back of it said, quote unquote, in Arabic, it said, but translated to English, it said, "I pursue my enemies, I catch them, and I do not return them until I have destroyed them." They had that around their wrists and on the back of their sweatshirts, each and every one of them. And truthfully, Israel went through with their promise. They definitely destroyed them, physically, mentally, emotionally destroyed them. And I made it a point to ask each and every one of them that I spoke with where they were at the time that they were taken. And many of them were taken from the hospital. Others were taken from, like, they were in their homes or in their tents, and like a drone overhead had told them that they had to exit with their hands out, up in the air. So that's how they were also taken. And as a nurse, I can treat wounds, no problem, but it's the invisible wounds that's difficult to treat. So the distant eyes, the lost look, the complete mistrust in the world, and the feeling of failure in the world, that's something you can't treat. So it's harder. Torture, medical neglect, humiliation, it's not security measures, it's crimes. And medical care is not a privilege, it's a right. So we need more than thoughts and prayers. We need transparency. We need medical access. We need international oversight. We need more action than what we're doing now. These are obligations under international humanitarian law. And right now there are no investigations. There are no emergency resolutions. There's no outrage from those who claim to stand for human rights. And we can't stay silent. I won't stay silent. I know I will not turn away. I will tell their stories over and over and over and over until the world listens and does something about it. And that's my story.
Thanks a lot, Val, for this testimony about what was happening.